welcome to Sailor Moon Therapy Hour.
I'm Alison.
And I'm Audrey.
And we are not therapists, we just watch anime.
Exactly. So today I've watched the original dub of this episode, which is called Wedding Day Blues in the original dub. And Alison, you watched the sub.
Which is called A Girl's Dream, Usagi Becomes a Bride. And so we watched the Child Bride episode.
We sure
No
did.
children were married in the making of this episode.
Thank God.
I know. It was still kind of a lot.
Oh, yes.
And in some ways it was more understated than I thought it would be, but in other ways I just, like, that whole bride culture really, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that was so bizarre because I don't know how much the dub changed the story, but like at the end of the day, there was a whole lineup of women in wedding dresses, like at some sort of contest.
And most of them were not actually getting married.
Right.
They were just really excited about the concept of marriage, which I mean, yeah, but also this was weird. I mean, I know the whole point is the villains make it weird,
Right.
But it got weird. Well, so let's talk about it.
Yes.
I am so excited to hear what they changed because there were a few points where I was like, this is kind of I mean, maybe again the 90s they were a little less careful about some of the stuff, but I was like, this is kind of a vibe. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
They cut so much from this, like they had the weirdest timing of cuts and like, you know, like the little interstitials, like
I wonder if they had to work around things. And on the other hand, it was like they could have just done this. Like it was like right at that borderline where I was like, I could see them just like going with it and just not commenting, but I could also see them trying to like fix the messaging.
Yeah, so I'm, for one, am definitely interested in hearing how potentially different it was. Because that's the thing about the dub, right? Is like sometimes it's like, sometimes I think the things you think that are going to be different are not.
Yeah, I feel like 15 episodes in, or whatever, we should be, like, have more of, a way that we can, like, reliably predict what changes they're gonna make, but they baffle me every time. I'm like, oh. And, like, I can then retroactively explain why they might have made those decisions, but I can never predict the decisions.
Correct. Yeah, same. I also wonder, I just had this thought of, like, I wonder if there's, like, any record of the people at DiC who worked on this, and if like maybe they kept like bouncing it around internally, and that could explain some of the inconsistencies.
Yeah, different people.
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem like they put a lot of like time and money and effort into some of this stuff. So I think there's definitely, like we said about like the Sailor Moon says, where it feels like they just handed it to someone like an outline, and they're like, quick, throw something together, and they were like, okay.
This one I definitely felt like the voice actress for Sailor Moon is really doing the most. Like, she is doing her job hard.
Have we officially changed voice actresses by this point?
Yeah, I think so. She does that weird, you know what's so funny is like, I hated this voice. Yeah, I hated this voice growing up. But now I'm like, this isn't that bad. It's just the crying is like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, so we've gotten to the one that sticks around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And she has that troll. And you know what? I will say this because, again, they made that, the remake, which, again, I don't want to be too judgy on because I watched, like, one episode, but it was so, like, understated and everything, and everyone's emotions were so muted, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it to that voice actress. Like, she was putting some heart and spirit into it, and she brought a lot of life to the character.
She
and,
really
like, the
did.
silly expressions and the silly comments are, like, yeah, they need to be there. Maybe not the same ones, but yeah, I'd rather that than like everyone be very muted and serious.
Yeah, in what world is Sailor Moon meant to be serious? Like, what? That's ugh.
Yeah,
We'll definitely
and again,
have to do that.
I can't super judge because I didn't watch enough to really be, but it was like they were going more for pretty stylized, and then I felt like at least the facial expressions and things were under emoting.
Was the manga more like just pretty and stylized and
they
not funny?
were trying to do the manga style, so it had a very distinct style, but at the same time, like the manga did have a lot of the weird, silly moments and stuff because the manga would do like little, like chibi cartoon faces too. So, and I felt like they maybe just picked part of the style.
Yeah, well, that's not.
I don't know.
Cool.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that at some point.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
We can read a manga chapter and watch the first episode or two and
That's a
see
good
what
idea.
we think of it.
And then one person can read the manga, and one person can.
I don't think they match up well enough for that to work.
All right, so I'll give a very brief summary of this episode. Nephrite, of course, is still our bad guy, and he will be the bad guy for a little while, I think. And his plan, I have so many questions about what he does with his days, but his plan is to now select their sewing teacher, which is the first time that we've ever seen this character.
Another teacher,
yeah,
right?
like another teacher, and she's a sewing teacher, and she's about to get married, and so he focuses on her because she's putting all her energy into planning her wedding. And so he gives her this piece of fabric that, so much to say in that scene.
Cursed fabric. That was a great scene.
Yes, exactly. And so of course she ends up becoming like kind of monstrous as she's creating her wedding dress. Meanwhile, there is a wedding dress contest going on, and so Serena and Ray are kind of clashing a little bit because they both want to win the prize. Neither one of them can sew.
It's really cute.
I know. It was actually kind of fun. And then when it comes time, like, they obviously don't have a dress to submit into the contest, but because now the Negaverse becomes involved and they realize it, she uses the disguise pen Serena does to enter the contest so that they can find the teacher. And then the teacher turns into this, it's called Black Widow. It's like a giant monster.
Spider monster.
And then the Sailor Scouts transform and defeat the monster very quickly. And then I think
that
that's
was the end. Yeah, we do end with the teacher teacher getting married. Not the normal teacher, but the other teacher. Yeah, I actually have surprisingly few notes, considering it sure felt like this episode was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many moments that I don't have much to say. I just want to dwell in them for the moment as they come up in this one. Oh, but the first one, okay, so this sewing class, which first of all, what a 90s thing.
Yeah. It was home economics. There were only girls in the room, and they were learning how to sew darts into a dress.
Oh, I didn't even notice that there were only girls in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Mm-hmm. Boys need to learn how to sew, too, because they rip holes in things all the time.
I absolutely think home economics classes, which I never had, but I think they're super valuable. I think a shop class and a home economics class, I wish they were, I wish I'd had those available to me.
I wish... Actually, did you not have that? Because I definitely took
They were available, but they were electives, and I took, journalism or something.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I won't say that it was yeah. But it's I think those kind of life skills, which I've now had to teach myself from YouTube, are actually super valuable. Everyone should know a little bit about how to make stuff and a little bit about how to fix stuff.
You know what I learned in home ec? Because I took it. Mm-hmm. I learned how to make fudge. How to do like the hook, like latch hook
crochet
thing.
Oh, latch hook rug.
Yeah. And I learned how to write a check. That's what they taught us. Those are the things they taught us.
I mean, they should teach you to write a check at some point. Actually, these days they don't really need to teach you anymore.
Yeah. They really don't need that.
They should teach you how to manage a credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, there should have been budgeting or something in there.
Now, I did that in health class, I think. I don't know.
They taught you budgeting in health class?
Well, health class was the sex ed class, but they couldn't call it that because it was Texas.
Right. Well, and I didn't actually get any sex ed.
I think what they were trying to teach us was that children were expensive. I don't know.
Did I ever tell you about my health class where, the teacher would just never show up? And so we would all just be sitting in there. I learned how to play spades really well. We would all just play spades in the class.
Wow.
Yeah. Besides the documentary that he made us watch about syphilis.
We were at the same school, weren't we?
Yeah.
Did I have the same health class teacher? Because it was a guy, but I don't remember.
It probably was the same guy.
He was weird, though. I remember I was absent for, a while. I got sick. Mm-hmm. And then I was, came back and I was like, what's the makeup work? And he's like, it's fine, whatever. And then I took this test where I had apparently missed, the entire male reproductive system, but I didn't know I'd missed it because he didn't tell me I'd missed it because he was so whatever. And so, literally, I just opened my test and there's just a picture of a and I'm like, what's happening? I wasn't expecting it. It was a surprise, which is not the way those things should ever be.
It's like a pick. Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, ah. But I did get a perfect score on that test because it was a fucking matching up terms, and I was able to intuit the parts of the
I don't feel like they taught us the parts of the vulva or vagina, though.
I think it was in that test, too, but I can't remember. We didn't have a lot of details.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you watch the documentary about syphilis going through that rich high school in Georgia?
We watched a documentary about, because, again, Texas, for those of you who aren't aware, is an abstinence-only education, which means they're not allowed to teach about birth control, or the only thing they're allowed to teach is that you shouldn't have sex.
Yeah.
So they show you, like, a video of all the horrible STDs you can get if you have sex, which really raises some questions about what they think you're going to do once you're married. I mean... But, and also, like...
You'll just magically know how to do it.
Yeah. And then, like, the only thing they teach you about birth control is the failure rates. They don't teach you how you should use it or why you should use it.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the impression that birth control was a bad idea, like, all types of birth control.
Yeah, which is why somebody from my youth group got pregnant at 17, you know. Because condoms aren't effective, because they're only 99% effective.
Well, we had a syphilis outbreak at one of the local schools, speaking of syphilis.
Yeah. The documentary could have been about our school.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot. Man, that documentary was, like, so slut-shamey, too. Like...
I bet. Yeah, I mean, I got the impression you should not approach anyone without, like, a full hazmat suit.
Exactly.
Because, as they kept pointing out, like, condoms won't protect you from all the other places your skin is touching.
Ugh. Let's move on to child brides.
Yeah, okay. Uncomfortable seg, but
yeah.
You know what? Gotta teach girls about how to take care of themselves.
Right.
So yeah, so we're in home ec. The new teacher is, like, talking in, like, a dreamy monotone, and everyone's, like, falling asleep, and she's, like, all blushy, and it turns out it's because she's engaged, and she's thinking about her engagement.
So question, in the dub, she kind of, like, wanders off to the window, and then it cuts. And I'm like...
I think it did cut there.
Oh, okay.
She just, like, stared dreamily out the window.
So it's just a
and then
weird
we cut to everyone being kind of like, what's going on with her?
Okay.
I don't remember it being, like, a hard cut, so maybe they, like, sped it up a little or something.
They might have cut some of the reactions or something.
And we cut to Usagi and Molly and Melvin,
Marvin,
I think?
and Marvin. By the way, is he XOXO Gossip Girl? Because he knows all the hot
That
goss.
is so true. I love that he just turns up out of nowhere with all the details. To be fair, I think it's because he's, like, implied to be stalking all these women. But I do love that he just... I enjoy the idea that he just likes all the gossip. And so, yeah, he shows up there like, what's up with this lady? And he's like, okay, let me tell you about her engagement. And I'm like, God bless you.
I know. Like, he just knows everything. It's amazing. And then this guy, they named her fiance Herbert, and he's this adorable man who's just a little
small man.
Yeah, he's a little bit shorter than her, and he's, like, super nerdy.
He's in, like, a business suit. He's, like, a small businessman.
Yeah. A small businessman.
And he's proposing with a bunch of flowers, and she
So
seems
cute.
really pleased about it.
Yeah, she was super happy about it. But
Oh, did you get the part where Melvin, as he's explaining this, is explaining why the teacher's so into this wedding is because she is 34 and unmarried.
No, they
Can
cut
you
that.
imagine being 34 and unmarried?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. They cut that. I wondered if they would cut that. And it's like her dream is a wedding where she makes her own wedding dress because she likes clothes or whatever.
Oh.
And so then this small man proposes to her, and she's like, I finally get my dream wedding. And I did like that they were like, yeah, it's probably, as long as you love each other, that's cool. Which Usagi did not seem on the same page with, which I was a little surprised by.
Yeah. Yeah, so all of that was missing. And then,
Does Usagi go, no, I'm going to aim high. I'm going to aim for a handsome guy, and I'm going to be married by 25. That's my goal.
I'm trying to remember.
Because I was like, okay.
I don't remember if she said anything that clearly, but based on something later, I'm like, I wonder if she did and I just missed it. Yeah, I think she was not into the short king.
Yeah, and I was like, are you kidding? He's adorable. I love him.
He's so sweet. And then...
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah. So then...
And she seemed really happy.
Yeah, she was happy. So, okay. So then after that, I think is when we cut to, in the dub, her standing outside of this fabric store, upset about how she'll never be able to afford the fabric that she wants on her teacher's salary. And then she runs into a friend.
That's not exactly how it played out. I don't know why they... No, she's at this dress, and she's like, oh, I can't find a silk that I like. She wants to find the perfect silk, and she hasn't found the one she likes. But yeah, she runs into... It was the friend, the normal teacher that they normally have. I think it was. The redhead. I'm pretty sure it's their normal... I think it's their normal homeroom teacher, because you know how it's always a joke that she really wants to get married?
Uh-huh.
She's really... She tells She tells him, I'm counting on you having an amazing wedding because I'm planning to find someone at your wedding.
I thought it was like
and
a
I was
random
like, oh,
friend.
it's the return. I think it's the teacher again. Because I love that that's just a running thing.
Yeah.
She just really wants
Miss
a man.
Haruna.
And bad things happen to her.
I know, poor lady. So this is another...
Was the creeper car there?
Yes, this is a moment I would like to dwell on because...
Okay.
Because first of all, Nephrite is like, he sees them talking about like the wedding stuff, and then I'm assuming it is Miss Haruna.
And we say sees, he's sitting outside in his fancy red car, watching them through his car window like a creeper, because as we've discussed, Nephrite is like peak, like, creeper guy.
Yes. And I don't understand. So like all of the other ones, he's selected his victim through the stars first, and this one starts with him in the car like stalking her, and I'm like, first of all, how did you find her? Are you also Gossip Girl? Like, is he just driving around town like looking for hot goss?
Because then he later goes and the stars are like, it's this lady, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
what is the timing on this? That's backwards.
Yeah, it was so strange. I was like, why is he so connected to local gossip?
So I'm so glad that his fancy red car came back. I'm really pleased that that's a running theme. Yeah, we cut to him going to his castle in the mountains to talk to the stars, and he has just a weird-ass conversation. I noticed for the first time that it looked like it was like a church. There was like a stained glass window.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that.
And I only noticed because I was like, oh, is this wedding themed? And then it was not related.
I feel like it has always had nice windows.
So he I guess he's like, yes, her moment of power is coming. I'm gonna go drain all her wedding power from her.
It was so in the dub he was talking about how she was wasting all her energy on wedding stuff, and
I kind of liked that they didn't actually ever downplay, like, I think they were, so there's this weird double standard, or like not double standard, catch-22, I don't know, where it's like, on the one hand, I'm like, can we not act like the most important thing in a girl's life is a wedding?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, can we not act like you're wasting your time if you care about a wedding?
Right.
Like, I don't know. It feels like the sub, which I watched, lean hard into, like, weddings are super important and everyone needs to be married. And then the dub leans super hard into, like, you care too much about your wedding.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could we find a middle ground?
Agreed.
I will say, he seems like exactly the sort of person that would be like, you stupid person.
I know. He's very, I'm getting very, like, toxic masculinity vibes from him.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. When I say creeper, I think that's what I mean, is that, like, I kind of, like, manipulate women with
my hair and car.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention before we move past Nephrite was that Miss Haruna...
And then I have a question for you.
Ooh, okay. Was that when Miss Haruna and... I can't remember what they called this other teacher.
Akiyama.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Lambert is what they called her in this. When they're talking, Miss Haruna's like, I know of a discount fabric store where we can go and, you know, get fabric for you. And I just wrote, red flag.
Yeah. Well, I think every single store in this anime has turned out to be an evil trap. Although this actually segs into my question. because I was looking ahead at what happens next, and I realized that I had sort of assumed that the whole wedding contest where everyone's trying to compete, basically the contest is going to be that you enter a handmade wedding dress and you can win a all expenses paid wedding. And you don't even have to be currently getting married. You can save it for later if you're single. Mm-hmm. So everyone's super excited about this. Here's my thing, though. So it's going to wind up that you see a bunch of women fighting over cloth, like in a store. But my question is, I had sort of assumed that was part of Nephrite's evil plan. Like, because, normally when a bunch of people go crazy over stuff in a store, it's part of the evil plan.
Right.
But I realized that, like, he just kind of turns up at the store and, like, touches the one girl's cloth and, like, makes it evil. So, like, was he actually involved in the wedding contest at all? I'm not sure he was. I think those were just other people running that. I'm not positive he was involved.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, actually, was because in the dub, he was definitely not involved. It was, like, all this one guy who owns a chapel and is like, I'm going to get so much business for my chapel from this contest. And it wasn't an all-expenses-paid wedding. It was a trip to Hawaii for their honeymoon in the dub.
Once again, I feel like the dub is trying to, like, change. Like, we don't want people to care so much about their weddings. You can go on a trip instead.
Yeah, it was specifically for honeymoon, but, like, they're so weird. Okay, but we
yeah, I feel like there was a guy running it. I don't feel like he ever said anything, like, evilly motivated about it. So maybe they added that because they... But yeah, okay, so it sounds like he probably wasn't meant to be involved because I don't think he was. He gets, like, knocked unconscious later. But it was just, like, it just occurred to me that we had a scene where people went crazy in a store and it was just not related to evil. People just go crazy in stores here.
Well, yeah, like... I wonder if that's why the stars were like, this is the lady.
Yeah, they were like, it's going to happen all on its own. Right. It turns out, like, I mean, Nephrite's a little right. Like, Jadeite didn't need to be causing all this drama. He could have just gone to where the drama is.
Right.
Like the hot goss boy that Nephrite is.
Got to where the drama is. Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you just realize that Nephrite is basically Melvin, but he gets all his hot gossip from the stars?
Yes! Wait, maybe he is Melvin.
Oh my God, he absolutely is.
And that's why Melvin's so toxic, like, that's why Nephrite is so toxic masculinity, because Melvin was sick of being rejected by girls, grows up, gets hot, grows his hair out, gets a nice car.
Or vice versa, because remember how we said that I said that I thought Andrew was Jadeite, mm-hmm. and that maybe Jadeite gets reborn as Andrew, and, like, they're just living parallel? Yeah, so when Nephrite dies, he comes back as Melvin.
Right. Which is...
I like
this headcanon's working for me.
Let's keep figuring out what character all the people are secretly reliving their lives as. So basically the next scene we're gonna have Ray and Serena finding out about the wedding dress contest.
Yeah. And this leads to, I feel like, some weird translations. That's how Ray finds out that, like, because Serena's, like, dreaming about this dress that she wants to make. Meanwhile, Ray has pushed her way to the front of the line to be, like, fighting with the guy to see if she can enter the contest without having, like, a boyfriend or whatever. And that's how we find out that, like, yeah, you can save the prize for later. And then Ray asks Serena, doesn't your mom have a sewing machine? And so then they go over to Serena's house, and then I know that they changed some of the translation here.
Yeah, and real fast before we hit that, does Usagi have the fantasy about her
Is that what it was? Yes!
Did they cut that?
No,
okay,
it was there!
Like, okay.
This was another moment!
She's like, she's like, I'm gonna be a beautiful bride, and I'm gonna marry a handsome boy, and then she's like, who's it gonna be? And then she's like, it's gonna be Tuxedo Mask and Motoki, or Andrew, the video store guy. And then she, like, pictures them both dancing with her at her wedding, and it was like, you go, girl, get yourself some. Like,
it was so
polyamory,
nice.
I love it.
This was another moment that I just wanted to soak in, just because the animation also, they, like, float dance in circles throughout her wedding, and it's all three of them.
I was really happy. I was like, yeah, marry them both.
Yeah. You don't have to choose. Get them both.
Yeah.
They're best friends anyway.
I appreciate that Usagi always dreams big.
Yes.
Like, she's like, I aim for the stars, and I'm going to get them. Good for her. Okay, so Ray's like, I need to make a dress because she wants to win a wedding. Usagi also wants to win a wedding. Rei is like, hey, your mom's a housewife.
Oh, that's what she said.
And then she goes, Usagi-chan! And then she's like, they show up at the house and Rei's acting like they're best buds and sucking up to the mom like crazy.
Yeah.
Because she thinks the mom can sew.
Oh, that makes way more sense than, like, your mom has a sewing machine, right? Because then they get there,
oh,
and the
okay,
mom is
yeah,
like,
no.
I don't know how to sew. And I'm like, yeah, but you said that she had a sewing machine, so it doesn't matter.
I think they changed your mom's a housewife to your mom has a sewing machine, and I actually think that's probably a fair change to make.
Yeah, I'm like, go 90s feminism. It doesn't always get it right, but sometimes it does. Yeah, this whole scene was strange in the dub.
A couple details I noticed. So first of all, Luna just like bewildered by this whole exchange. Yeah. Usagi seething on the couch.
Yeah.
Rei just being like, yes, we are best friends forever. And then Rei's like, oh, this cake is so amazing. I love your homemade cake. And Usagi's like, you can tell that it's from the store. And your mom hits her. And I don't know, it was really cute.
Oh, they cut that. So this is what they translated this conversation as. Was she gets handed the cake or whatever, and then Serena is complaining, that's the last slice of, like, the shortbread cake or whatever. And then Rei's like, oh, this is so delicious. You could totally enter this into a cake-making contest. And then she starts explaining the nature of contests. You can win all kinds of prizes, like cruises or trips or whatever. And she's, like, explaining how contests work to Serena's mom.
Contest explaining.
Yeah, so strange.
I mean, I assume they meant that as kind of like they wanted her to talk about something other than housewifey stuff.
Yeah.
So they wanted to like maybe make like she's staking to the contest.
I don't know. So Rei's explaining contests, and then they get to, I guess, the wedding dress contest, and then that's when they find out that she doesn't sew.
See, I really enjoyed. Rei did not bring up the wedding dress contest. Rei was just like, oh, I want to learn to sew. Could you teach me to sew? I want to make a beautiful wedding dress. And the mom, I just enjoyed the mom looking incredibly awkward every time Rei was flattering her housewife skills, and the mom just being like, yeah, I don't have those. Because that made me happy, because her mom's really happy. And so it's like the whole point is like, you don't have to have those.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, I love in the original one, like in the sub, like how much we see that Usagi is like her mom.
Yes, she's like her mom. She's like her dad. I really like that.
Yeah.
There's a cute scene later with the mom that I guess we'll get to.
Oh, that's the last time we see the mom in the dub.
Oh, okay. Well, when we get to it, we'll discuss. I'll jump in. Oh, yeah. So Rei's just like, oh, you can teach me how to sew, and the mom looks really awkward, and then we just smash cut to Rei leaving, and she's like, you didn't tell me she couldn't sew, and Usagi's like, you literally did not ask me. Oh, notable, as they're leaving, Rei's like, I'm gonna go learn to dress, and she goes storming off. I'm gonna go learn to make a dress, and Luna, for the first time ever, calls someone other than Serena out. She's like, she really needs to devote some of that energy to her mission and not this, which I really enjoyed. And then she turns to Serena, and Serena's gone off to go do the same thing.
See, I wondered why they changed it. So they changed it to Luna making fun of Serena. Like, that if you put half the energy into finding the Moon Princess, then we would have already found her already.
No! Yeah. I really liked that because, to be fair, Rei's doing exactly what Serena usually does. Right. And yes, Serena's doing the same thing. But thank you, Luna. Equal opportunity callouts. Right.
Yeah, I can't believe they totally cut that. Because I could also tell that when Luna turned around, and they just didn't even bother dubbing this part over, I could tell that she turned around and Usagi wasn't even there. But they just didn't land that joke. Like, they didn't even bother translating it.
Yeah, the joke makes sense when it's like, oh, look what she's doing. And Serena's gone off to do the same thing. Like, that was good.
Oh, man. So, is this now where we're at the fabric store with all the people fighting over fabrics?
No, I have written down that we cut to Serena talking to Amy.
Oh, okay, yeah, and then...
Serena's gone to Amy to complain about Rei.
Yeah.
And she's like, isn't that, don't you care about... And at some point, Amy's like, I don't really plan to get married anytime soon.
Really?
Yeah. Amy's just kind of like... And, and then... What happened in yours? So, some more stuff, but.
So Serena's telling her about the contest and how she needs to make a sewing dress, and is asking for Amy to help her. and then and like telling her about the prize, and Amy's like, 2 weeks off of, like, won't you miss 2 full weeks of school? That's so bad, you know. And then Serena's like, oh, there's more to life than school.
Sorry, did Serena take 2 weeks off of school to work on her dress? Because that did not happen.
No, I think she meant like for Hawaii, like even if she won, to go to Hawaii like for 2 weeks.
You can't go to Hawaii until you're married.
I know. I don't know.
That doesn't make sense. Sorry.
They just really got to hammer home that Amy sucks. And they also, although this part was cute, where like, so Serena's asking for her help, and Amy's like, well, look, like you're just, no, wait, maybe that was somebody else. Oh, that might have been Molly, because she was asking Molly for help at some point, and Molly's like, you're just going to read comic books while I do all the work, so no thank you. And Amy is like, sure, I'll help you, and then she dumps a whole stack of sewing books in front of Serena, and she's like, I don't know how to sew, but like, here, like, I've got stuff to do, so like, here are some books.
Why'd they change that?
Yeah, she was like, I don't have time to sew.
See, she said, I don't know why they changed this, but yeah, Serena goes, you're good at sewing, which she is. She says, teach me how to sew, and Ami goes, of course I will. And then she sets down the stack of books and goes, read all these first, and then we'll work on it. And she has the smuggest expression on her face. Ami just totally knows what she's doing, and it was great. But also, why did they decide Ami couldn't sew?
I don't think I think I was wrong. Like, I don't think she said I don't know how to sew. I think she said I don't have time to sew.
Yeah, but, like, she does have time. I don't know. I just feel like Ami's good at everything, and I kind of like that as a character.
Yeah. I also just love how much sassier and more clever she is in the
I feel like
sub.
Ami being like, sewing is a waste of my time is not an Ami thing.
No, but, like, I love that in the sub, she's like, she's like, oh, of course I'm going to help you, but, like, no.
Yeah, no, I like the sassy, yeah.
Yeah, oh, she's so much better
I enjoyed
in the
that
sub.
The expression on her face just said she knew exactly what she was doing when she set those books down.
Yeah.
And then, yes, Serena left.
So, all right, so now,
now we go to the women in the store. Yeah.
So this scene with Nephrite.
This is a great scene.
Okay, so first of all.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we gotta set up the scene before we get to Nephrite.
Yeah, so we are in the quote discount fabric store where all these women are fighting over fabric, which because I didn't make the connection to the contest at this point.
Yeah. So it's like, why are they all fighting over
Yeah,
fabric?
I was just like, well, I just assumed
also subtle detail, but the red car is outside.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, I was like, ooh. Signs of evil.
The red car. I'll never look at red sporty cars the same again. So they're in there, and the teacher is looking at this beautiful piece of fabric. Oh, excuse me. I think she's like, I don't know if, well, she doesn't grab it. Like, people are fighting over things, and it just kind of slips out of somebody's grasp, and she holds onto it, and she's looking at it. And by the way, this is not a big enough piece of fabric to make a whole wedding dress. But
I noticed that. Yeah, I was like, I mean, maybe she's gonna make her veil out of it.
I know.
Make a veil out of wedding.
And she's like, she's like looking at it, and it's like they make it like sparkly and whatever. And I was like, that's not enough fabric for your dress.
I mean, to be fair, every piece of fabric in the store looks like a white sheet of cloth.
Yeah.
So they all look the same.
Well, this one, when she holds it up to the light, it has sparkles in it. So.
Oh well,
nice.
okay.
And cool. I think that's when Nephrite comes in. And he's like, oh, that's a beautiful piece. And he takes it from her and wraps it around himself.
Yeah, real fast. Before he does that, he's absolutely, like, trying to seduce her. He goes, beautiful. And she looks at him, and he goes, beautiful. And she gets all blushy, and he's like, this piece of fabric is beautiful. But he's looking at her. He does this really weird, creepy, like, the whole conversation, he's, like, kind of flirting with her.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's fucking weird.
Oh.
But yeah, he takes the cloth as he's talking about, like, how amazing her wedding's gonna be and how beautiful she is, and he, like, wraps it around himself.
Yeah. It was so
weird. I don't know what to make of that.
What I made out of it is that he wants to be a beautiful bride someday.
I kind of got that. And he was also just like, he's like, the stars are gonna shine upon, like, he was just saying stuff that I guess she was meant to be, like, pick-up artisty, flirty, like, manipulating her. But honestly, I feel like I would have been like, are you okay, sir? Do you want my piece of cloth?
Yeah. And it just felt like, I don't know. It was just so weird to, like, just see a man in this space that is, like, all women right now. And not that a man can't be in there, but, like, I don't know.
Well, it felt out of place for the show, because I was like, absolutely, man can get in there and get a beautiful dress.
Right.
But, like, the show, I don't think thinks that. So it was like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like, what does the show think they're communicating with him with the fabric wrapped around him? Like, is this a... It wasn't even clear that it was meant to be a funny image.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to make of it.
I laughed.
I did laugh, but partly because he's not, like, wrapped around it like a dress. He's, like...
He's feeling it. Like, I wrote
like,
down...
Like a weird robe or something.
Or like a cape wrapped around his
Yeah, kind of like a cape. And so it almost felt like they were trying to be like, look how sexy he is in this wedding robe cape. But he also looked like a child playing, like, dress up with a piece of fabric.
Yeah.
So it was strange. I didn't know what to make of it.
I wrote down, Nephrite is really feeling that fabric. And
the whole time he's saying, like, really over the top, like, sort of sexual, not sexual, but, you know, like, flirty things, but also, like, tied in with all his weird, like, the stars about, and you're just like, what's going on?
He really is giving serious pickup artist vibes. And we do find out the reason for him touching it is to place the symbol on the cloth and then put it on her. But this image of him just being like feeling this fabric all over himself. I was like, I mean,
imagine
get it,
yourself
Nephrite.
in a store and someone comes up and takes the fabric you're gonna buy and wraps it around their dirty person, and then is like, "You're going to be beautiful in this fabric." And you're like, "I'm never touching that fabric again."
I know. like I don't know what just happened, but I don't want this anymore.
But I just wrote in all caps, "Home wrecker." 'Cause, man.
Yes. So I don't remember what happens in between this, but I know that the next time we see her, she is,
she's gonna be all crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see, next, Usagi and Molly.
Oh, okay, so that's when Molly's like, yeah, I know what's gonna happen, you're just gonna read comics, and I'm gonna do all the work, so no thank you.
Yeah, they didn't say exactly the same thing. Molly says something like, oh, you always give up really easy, and they get in a little fight about that, but it was kind of cute. They were bickering.
Yeah.
Also, at some point, Usagi's like, you give up easy, and Usagi says something like, a woman's convictions can split stones, and Molly goes, what? And Usagi's like, did I get the phrase wrong? And I'm like, I don't know what the phrase was supposed to be, so I don't know.
Oh, I bet that was hilarious if you knew Japanese.
I know! I was like, I really want to know what the joke was, because
Yeah.
it seemed like a good setup that I did not understand. But yeah, so that's when they see small businessman fiance looking kind of sad with a bouquet of roses going up to knock on his fiance's door because she has not been taking his calls.
Yeah. Aww.
And he's worried about her. Is she okay?
He was so sweet.
He was sweet.
And then she comes out. Okay, so that explains my note here, which is apparently evil powers give you better makeup because
I noticed that too. She comes out. She's obviously angry and crazy, but she's also, like, dressed and made up completely differently.
Yeah.
She's got, like, short shorts on and, like, a bright colored shirt, and she's got, like, heavy makeup.
Yeah, she's, like, hot. Like, she opens the door.
But, like, angry punk girl.
Exactly. Yeah,
like
I got the punk vibe, too. I was like, oh, so now she's, like, the lead singer of an 80s punk band? Because she...
Yeah, and Usagi and Molly are like, that's our teacher? What?
Yeah. And she's super hot now, and then yells at this poor man, and is like, I can't remember what she said, but she's like, I never want to see you again, like, I need you to leave, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's not what she said.
Oh, what did she say?
She says, don't talk to me until I've won this wedding contest, which is, like, a weird way to talk. So it was, like, implied she's still gonna marry him.
Right.
It was very unclear, but yeah, she's got to work on, and she's, like, obsessing about the dress. She's like, I gotta make my dress. Don't talk to me until I've won this wedding contest.
That makes so much
she goes, then she, like, wraps her hands around herself and goes, dress, or something like that, and then goes back inside, and you're like, okay, she's like an addict. She's, like, in full-on addict mode.
Oh, they cut that part.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, but that makes a lot more sense because I was like, oh, how are they going to fix this broken relationship? And the answer is they don't. They just get married magically at the end.
Yeah, but she didn't like dump him,
Right.
and also she was clearly like distraught over her dress, so I feel like maybe he could have rationalized some of that away.
Yeah, that makes way more
Because she was
sense.
like, her going like this, dress was like,
Yeah.
so you're not okay right now.
Right. And so...
But here's my thing.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and then she goes inside to continue making the dress.
This is my question, though, because if you're writing a character and you're trying to present this character is obsessively working on a dress, and they're so obsessed over this dress, it's changed them fundamentally. Why does that then mean they wear different clothes and put on makeup?
Yeah.
Because really she should be like, maybe she'd be wearing like sweatpants because she's just working on the dress. She'd like have her hair like a mess, like because she's only thinking with the dress. Like, is she taking time out from her obsessive dressmaking to like apply lipstick and eyeliner? Like, what's happening?
I actually had a lot of questions because the way that they did this one felt like I just didn't really understand Nephrite's plan for this, because I'm like, why is this affecting her so much when he... Because, like, remember the tennis girl? Like, she just gets more and more intense at tennis, but it doesn't change... I mean, it does change her personality, but she doesn't change her looks. She doesn't change
her outfit, and her voice went, like, all angry and mean.
Yeah, and the same with the gardener.
Yeah. Well, and we had set up this lady really cared about having... She really cared about making clothes, and she really, really cared about making her own wedding dress. So, like, that setup is good, but, like, why she was dressed in, like, the makeup... Like, that clashed. That didn't make sense to me.
It was so weird, and then, like, later we'll get to... the actual contest itself, where she is, like, fully evil, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But this is, like...
I very much got the vibe that they were, like, leaning on some sort of trope, like a Japanese stereotype about, like, the type of woman you wouldn't want to marry, like, with that outfit, and that she's, like, talks mean to men, instead of being, like, soft and gentle. Like, to me, there was some... Like, her voice was different, her, like, ways of phrasing things were different, her whole look. To me, it felt like they were calling upon a particular, like, mean women that, like, dominate their husbands or something.
Oh.
Stereotype.
That would make more sense.
And that's kind of because when she's in the dress later, she also says some things that I felt like were pulling on some, like, dominating woman stereotypes.
Interesting. So, okay.
It was weird.
I didn't really take any more notes after this, but she is working on her dress obsessively. And then meanwhile, we, I guess it's the day of the contest. Did I miss
I would just like to point out that meanwhile, Usagi, I was like, oh, is Usagi going to be concerned about this relationship? Usagi's like, oh no, she's going to be in the competition. I've got some steep competition.
Oh no.
And there's two scenes that it sounds like they might have cut.
Yeah.
Because we have a scene with Usagi and her mom, and then a scene with Rei and her grandpa.
Oh, I forgot about the scene with her grandpa.
Which was weird.
You're right, with the mom. Okay, because they're trying to take... You're right. So they're each trying to... So first we see, like, Rei and her grandpa, and, like, Amy shows up to the shrine. And... Because I guess, like, Luna runs into her, and it's like, we've got, like, a Negaverse thing. And so she goes... I guess she's heading to the shrine or whatever to see Rei. And then... Rei has stolen all of the sheets, and her grandpa's chasing her around because she wants to cut up all these sheets, and is just like running around with all of them on her.
And they've changed that a little too, because Rei has actually stolen... It's a shrine, right? The grandpa does marriages there. It's the rental dress. It's the only set of fancy rental dress. She's stolen the shrine wedding dress that the grandpa rents out to customers.
That makes
But I
way
think
more
they
sense.
thought women, because it's a more traditional looking dress, I think they thought that people wouldn't recognize that it was a dress. It's like, robe-like.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
And the grandpa is like, give that back. And then he says something like, how dare you touch the sacred dress that's good for bringing in customers? That's sacrilegious, which I really enjoyed as a little...
That's so funny.
And then he says he's worried she was trying to elope, which I suspect they cut.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is actually, because they didn't have her trying to steal a wedding dress. Yeah, he thought she was stealing it to elope. And then does he do the thing where he's like, he tries to get Ami, he's like, hey, we do, probably not, because they changed this. Yeah, he turns to Ami and he goes, yeah, we do cheaper weddings here. You should come here for your wedding. It's cheaper than at the convention center. And Ami's like, I'm not planning to get married. And he's like, really? You should marry me. And it was like, okie dokie, old man. Don't talk to the 14-year-old that way.
There it is. There's the creep vibe that I always was waiting for. Interesting that they've completely cut this whole part of Amy's character where she just doesn't want to get married.
I noticed that.
Yeah. But yeah, like, so he's complaining about, like, how these are the nicest sheets that they have at the shrine. And then I think he asks Amy if she wants like a good luck charm or something like that. And she's just like, no.
He didn't ask her to marry him?
No. No child bride.
Yeah, so you know what? I will approve again that transition. Although I think you could have had Ray stealing like a wedding dress. I think that's funnier.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially... Yeah, and then Usagi, meanwhile, is sneaking around the house and she wants to steal her mom's curtains to make into a dress because she can't afford fabric with her allowance.
Right. Yeah, so like, at least in the dub, I mean, maybe they changed it to sheets so that they're kind of mirroring each other because they're trying to steal fabric that exists around where they live to turn into a dress.
I mean, I like that Ray was just straight up gonna cheat.
I know! That fits so much better with Ray.
Yeah. Getting to the point.
Yeah. Oh, God, I love her so much. And then, okay, so of course Serena's mom... Oh my God. So Serena's like sneaking around with this weird handkerchief around her face. And she's saying like, okay, the coast is clear. There's no parental units around. And so she like sneaks into her mom's room to steal the curtains. And then her mom finds her. And then I can't really remember what they talked about. Again, it's like just not that interesting. But she's like, I'm going to ground you for a week if you just for thinking about taking my nice silk curtains.
Oh my God, it was so much a cuter scene.
Yeah. So
in the sub, first of all, she's like, "Are you trying to steal my curtains? How dare you? They're my favorite curtains." And Usagi's like, does the whole like, "But I need them because I can't afford the things and I want to win this contest and I want to make a beautiful dress." And her mom's like, "Okay, how about you can have the curtains, but you give me your next 3 months allowance." And Usagi's like, "Ah," and it was like, I love this mom.
I love that really way more.
I know. The mom's like, "Sure, you can have what you want, but I get something."
Right. It's the same thing that Amy did to her, which is like...
Sure, I'll give you exactly what you want, except not what you want.
Right.
So it's like, no! Good choices.
I know.
Hard work. Effort. Because you notice that Usagi then does not take the curtains.
Correct.
She's like, never mind, I don't want them anymore.
Yeah.
Just like she did not read the books.
Yeah, they just make
She does care, but she does not care.
Man, the dub sucks sometimes.
I know.
All right.
So yeah, so they're going to the wedding. The teacher is crazy. There's another scene with the teacher. I can't remember when they see her. I just wrote down crazy teacher, lipstick, eyeliner. So I don't know.
Oh, I think she was like hunched over her sewing machine, like, gotta make this dress.
Oh yeah, and that's when I was like, why is she like making herself up while sewing like crazy?
Oh, was she actually like doing her makeup?
No, but that was my question is like why, like a lot of times shows act like makeup just manifests as a statement about your character, like basically that your character is bad.
Yeah.
And like it has to come from somewhere. You have to apply it. She has to own the makeup. She has to put it on her face. Like, she had to go shopping for that makeup.
I'm loving this idea that it just manifests as you're going down the wrong path, because I'm like, well, that looks really cool. No.
I should maybe wander a little down the path.
Yeah, I just want that makeup manifesting on my face.
So
now we're at the contest.
So yeah, then the contest.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of trivia from the wiki article. This is how I'm entertaining myself. It's not very interesting. In the scene with Serena at Amy's house, she's holding a bunny that resembles Patty from the 1986 anime series of Mapletown. Both series were produced by Toei Animation.
Oh.
Okay.
I was wondering what the significance of that thing was.
And it's a bunny, so it's also a reference to Usagi.
I just remember thinking that, like, because it had this string of beads around a single ear.
So it seems real distinct.
Yeah. It's interesting. Okay, so now we're at the contest. I didn't really write any other notes except for something that we're not at yet. But we're at the contest, and so it's like a full audience and a stage, because we always have a giant stage and a full audience to suck their energy. And so all these women are lined up. Oh, yeah, before we get to that, sorry, I'm so good at this. My ADHD brain is just like in circles. So we're outside this contest, people are going in. And by this point, Luna has told them, like, oh, there's something, like, weird going on.
Definitely evil going on.
Yeah.
Luna's clued into the teacher acting weird.
Yeah. So she's like, there's definitely something with the Negaverse. And so now all three of the Sailor Scouts are there outside with Luna. Of course, not transformed. They're just in their schoolgirl uniforms. And so they're making a plan to go in. And they decide that Serena should just should infiltrate the contest itself because that's where they think the teacher will be. And she's like, oh, but I don't have a dress. And then Ray's like, use your disguise pen, like, obviously. And so she does, and she's like, make me into a beautiful bride, like from a magazine. And she has this huge, it's something else, her wedding dress.
The bow on the top of her head was really, I wasn't into it.
Mwah.
It was a statement piece.
Yes.
It was like the type of pink bow that you put like on a cartoon character to indicate that they're a girl.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, this is a very Serena / Usagi dress where it's.
I mean,
it's like,
yeah, I did like that. That was her idea of just like a beautiful dress.
Yeah,
like,
it's huge and poofy and white,
girly,
but like pink
kind of
trim.
Childish.
Yeah, like lots of ruffles, lots of ribbons and things, and then like a weird headdress with that bow on it. Almost like a Pope's hat behind the bow that she has, like a big thing on top.
I swear in the sub, I can't remember because I maybe not paying close enough attention, but I swear it was her idea to use it, and it was pretty much, she's like, aha, I'm gonna win the contest, aren't you guys jealous? And they're like, you're supposed to be infiltrating, and she's like,
that's way better.
Very Serena.
Again, way better. The sub is just so much funnier. Like, for all that the dub
Amy basically goes, that would be cheating, Serena. And Luna goes, that's supposed to be your cover. And Serena's just like, how dare you?
Wow. So she goes in, entering into the contest. Meanwhile, the other two, I guess, sneak around somewhere else.
So we have a line of brides on the stage, some of whom are children. Let's not think about that. And that's when the teacher shows up in her crazy I put a wildly evil dress and glowing eyes.
Yeah, so they're all lined up, and we've got the owner of the chapel, or whatever, the guy who's running the contest, announcing what they're there for, and then we hear Ray, like we see Ray and Amy kind of like running around in the audience, like, I can't find the teacher, and Serena's like, wait, what? Because then she starts looking around the line and realizes the teacher's not there. And so then the guy, the MC of this event, is like, and now I shall introduce, and then he says some name that I'm like, am I supposed to know who that is? He was like, it's like some weird like person's name, like who's supposed to be the host, I guess, of their, or at least that's how they're translating it, is supposed to be the host of this contest. And so they open up this curtain, and then he's like, and we see the teacher, and she's like gone full Princess Mononoke with her makeup and headdress. And like this bonkers.
Yeah, it was bonkers weird. I think her dress was supposed to be like orchid themed because she was holding an orchid and it had kind of like this like silhouette. I don't know if there's some significance to the.
I think it's supposed to be sexual.
Orchids or lilies or whatever. Like, yeah, I think it's like, it feels again like it's calling on tropes that I don't recognize.
Yeah, the Princess Mononoke thing was like, so I don't know if that's like like very traditional.
Maybe that.
Like, yeah. Because
it was quite a weird look. She's had like a mark painted on her forehead.
Yeah, that's what I mean by Princess Mononoke. Because Mononoke had like this like face paint that was like, I think like maybe ancient Japanese or like traditional or something. And then there's also like a fur headdress, I think. And I don't know, it was insane. And they're all like, you're not such and such. And she goes off on this weird monologue about how.
Well, the one guy tries to go up to her.
Yeah.
She glows her eyes at him, and he gets heart eyes and instantly, like, falls to his knees. And he's like, you're the most beautiful woman. You're the best bride ever. And then her whole monologue is, like, about how men should love her and women should kneel. And she appears to have some sort of bride powers.
Yeah. She doesn't say that necessarily in the dub, although I've forgotten about the heart eyes thing. You're right. And then because she goes on some monologue about how she's, I don't know if it was about, like, ushering in a new era or how she was going to take everybody's energy. It was very bizarre.
That's not...
I know. It was...
The other one was kind of weird and sexual, and, like I said, they were doing some sort of, like, dominatrix thing, like, that I think maybe they were like, let's just, like, go a different direction with this.
And it was just the way that she was monologuing, I was like, isn't this Nephrite's job or, like, the monster's job? Because the monster hasn't even manifested yet. Yeah.
She's full crazy. This is what a bride is, I guess. She's the best bride ever, therefore all men love her and all women hate her.
Wow. That's something.
The whole audience then passes out with her glowy eyes.
Yeah.
And Serena almost passes out, but Luna's like, don't look at her eyes.
Yeah. And in the dub, she goes, Luna, you never let me nap. And Luna's like, you always pick the worst times to nap, or I don't know.
You know why they changed that?
Why?
Because in the sub, she goes, Luna, you can't be hiding under my skirt, you pervert. And Luna's like, what? Yeah, I was like, that's a take.
Wow. I understand what Big DiC was doing there.
Yeah, that's a good one to change.
So then Nephrite calls upon the monster to manifest, and the lady passes
and it's
out.
weird because it's unclear where he is. We,
Yeah.
see a close-up of his face. He calls them, is he there? Is he somewhere else? No one knows.
Nobody knows. And so the giant human / Black Widow hybrid, actual spider
Spider.
hybrid.
And I don't know if this is intentional, but it comes out of the lady's chest, and for a minute it looks like a beating heart to me, and then it turns into a spider, and I was like, that's a cool effect. I don't know if that was intentional, but I liked it.
I didn't notice that because I was.
And Usagi goes, "Why are the monsters so creepy?"
Oh, she did. I wish I could remember what she said in this one. So Ray and Amy come flying in on a Viking ship. Like a Viking ship, hung from the rafters of this stage.
Oh, yeah, was that what that was? I couldn't even figure out what it was. I assume it's a stage prop of some sort.
It definitely is, but I was just dying. It was so amazing.
Yeah. Also, they come in completely out of costume.
Yes.
I was like, do we just not care about disguises anymore?
No.
It was a whole deal that, Jadeite figured out who you were.
I guess they just don't care.
Maybe Nephrite's not even here. We're not even clear Nephrite's here, to be fair. But
True. So they come in and they start stealing Serena's speech again. Or this is in the dub. They start saying how they're gonna punish her and whatever. And then Serena's like, hey, you're saying that too early. It's not time yet. There's an order to these things. And then she turns to the spider and it's you're gonna be turned into mush in just a moment. And then they all start transforming.
They all do their transformation. Basically similar to what happens.
And then and then the spider attacks them with her silk shot, and the other two, so Mercury and Mars, dodge out of the way, and then of course Sailor Moon is left there. And I viscerally remember this clip because so she gets all tied up in the silk and is screaming and whatever, and I think that must have been a clip that they used to advertise Sailor Moon on Toonami, because I'm I really remember this I've seen this a lot. With her getting tied up by the spider shot or whatever.
That's funny. I feel also though there's a lot of them getting tied up shots. I noticed that's a running thing.
I mean, even when the spider jumped out, it was kind of an upskirt shot, except that she didn't have a skirt, but her legs were just splayed open. It was just Japanese cartoons.
I liked that they clearly the spider shoots at all three of them with the silk. Ami and Mercury dodge, and Serena just stands there and goes, ah!
Yeah.
And they both go, Ami and Mercury both go, you idiots.
Yeah. She never dodges.
Yeah, she doesn't. And then, I want to know if you may not have written down, but the threat that the spider made, the spider monster, was very memorable because she goes, I'm going to weave you a beautiful burial outfit made from your body. And I was like, what the hell are you saying? Take it down a notch.
Wow. So in the dub, she definitely doesn't say that. She says something nobody can escape from my silk attack or something.
You know what? I lie. Take it back up a notch. That was, the sub was better.
Yeah. And then,
then
Serena's oh, it's so gooey and sticky. She doesn't like it. Which now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm
I don't remember her actually pointing that out, and it does sound a little bit
wet. Yeah.
Mercury does her bubbles,
yes,
which are, as always, useful in creating a fog.
They are a thing.
And then while the spider can't see, Mars does her fog.
Or
and
fire
does her
attack.
tiara.
Yeah. It happens very quickly.
Yes. I would like to point out, though, I did think, because for all I'm always like, why does Mercury do these bubbles and this fog? Like, how useful is this? Like, what I've sort of realized, though, is that, like, the enemies can't see them in the fog, but they all seem to be able to see the enemy, because they attack the enemy, they run around, they find each other, they throw their tiara. So, like, that's actually kind of cool if it's a fog that only they can see through.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the reason why because I noticed it, like, they do this order a lot where, like, she, you know, because these are their current attacks, but it's, like, almost to hold the monster there so that Mars can then attack, and same with Sailor Moon. Because, like, they can't see. So I think, because the spider's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know.
And by the way, Mars specifically burns off the web so that
right.
Usagi can do her.
Yeah.
I just was remembering, because I was like, why did they both attack? But that
Yeah.
was what. Usagi does her tiara, the spider dissolves in flames. Mm-hmm. The teacher wakes back up and gets married.
Yeah.
I wrote, teacher wakes up, gets married, different dress.
Yeah, and so in the dub, remember, in the dub, she breaks up with him. And then all of a sudden they're, like, walking out of the chapel of their wedding, and she goes, thank you. And I'm like, why is she saying thank you? Is it because he took her back after she dumped him? That's kind of the read that I got.
Yeah. In the sub, they're at the wedding, they're all going, wow, and someone, I can't remember, I don't know who says this, they're like, you know, and he didn't even think of leaving her, even after she yelled at him so much, which I actually thought was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Like, also, I mean, if someone yells at you a lot, maybe do think of leaving them.
Yeah.
But
maybe that's why
it was sweet. It was just like, he really loves her, and then they say something like, yeah, I guess love is more important than anything else. And Usagi goes, no, I'm still gonna get a handsome guy. I was like, okay, you do you, hon.
Yeah, and then they all kind of, like, are fighting over the bouquet, I guess.
Yeah, someone says, you know, that whoever catches the bouquet gets married next, and so Usagi, Ray, and their teacher,
Miss Marina,
fight for it.
But then Amy ends up catching it by accident, which makes more sense now that she's been saying she doesn't want to get married.
Yeah, that she's just like,
because she doesn't care.
And Usagi starts crying, and the episode ends. It was cute. I liked that part, actually.
Yeah,
and you know what, though, it's a lot. Usually when a show does this, like, that character does actually get married next. Yeah. But no, Usagi's gonna get married.
Right.
Like, canonically, pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, now we're at Sailor Says.
I am so excited to find out what the Sailor Says is. Can I predict it?
Yes, go for it.
I am gonna say it's something like, don't get so caught up in the money aspect of getting married and rushing ahead. Just live your life now and enjoy being single. I don't know.
Actually, like, thematically close, I would say.
Yeah.
So I wrote it down. It's just also poorly written. Nephrite's a hot-looking guy, but he's bad to the bone. So Miss Lambert's...
Sorry, I need a moment to process.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, he's a hot-looking guy, but he's bad to the bone. So Miss Lambert's fiance isn't the coolest-looking guy on the block, but he loves her, and he makes her happy. You gotta look deeper than looks. See what's inside the person. That's what counts. And then Luna. Right, I always look for what's inside, and you should too.
Oh, Luna does look...
She does not look deeper.
Also, like, Luna, you're a cat. Like, you're not marrying anyone
also,
right now. I guess she's married.
Luna's a jerk.
She is married.
Like, there is no way that you look inside. Like, because if she actually looked inside, she would know that Serena's love and her goofiness is what solves the problems all the time.
Yes. Although, man, Serena, this episode. Is it weird that, like, even though that was sort of the theme with the little, like, small businessman and you know, the Nephrite flirting and stuff, like, the way they spelled it out was so much more weird and condescending and, like, icky and, like, kind of mean to small businessmen.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
you're right.
They made it real. Sure, he's not the coolest looking, but he's nice on the inside. I'm like, he was fine. Right. There was nothing wrong with him. Why are you guys so mean to him?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the whole show keeps acting like they're doing, like, him such a huge favor by marrying him. And I'm like, I mean, if you
But she's 34. Don't forget, he's doing her a favor.
Oh, God. Like, everyone just be nicer to everyone else.
I know. Like, until the sailor says, like, I just thought that they were a cute couple. You know?
I know! I thought they were cute, too. Like, I thought that scene, like, you could read it as, like, even though he's ugly, she likes him because she wants to get married. But, like, I thought it seemed like they just knew each other and liked each other, and it was really cute.
And they were, like, a good
But then,
match.
like, the show made such a big deal about what he looked like.
Right.
And I'm like, he looks normal.
Yeah. And he was so sweet, like, always bringing her flowers and whatever. And she was always blushing, which is why I was like,
yeah,
oh, she likes
really
it.
into it. Yeah, she definitely likes him. She's into it. Like, they're a good match.
Yeah. Weirdos.
But weird.
So, what are we doing?
Yeah. I think traditionally this is where I'm supposed to have an activity. I will say that we've talked kind of long this time, I think.
We usually go over an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can come up with an activity early.
That's what I did last time, too. I was like, in the moment, this is what we're going to do.
I know, right? I thought I would have something by now. I thought it would just come to me naturally. I will say, okay. I'm sorry, I'm thinking again about do you think that Nephrite just really wants to get married? Is that possible?
Sorry, I took a big bite of chocolate. Yeah. I also think that he might be a drag queen. Like, just the way that he was so excited about that sparkly fabric and the way that he wrapped it around himself. I'm like...
Yeah, he seemed into it. I'm looking at Black Widow just to see if I can find anything else about her, but it just says she is spider threads. No, I want some information about the wedding dress because it really felt like there was a vibe.
Yeah. What? Okay. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
What would your evil magic wedding look like?
Oh, my evil magic wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my reverse question is slightly different, is what obsession would Nephrite get you with?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question for the audience, too. Like,
yeah.
tell us what's
they would get you. Moment of highest energy.
Your peak.
Your peak.
Man, what would it be? Probably, like, I think he would get me, honestly, on either video gaming or, like, binge watching stuff.
Yeah, you're just, like, watching Netflix until you
Exactly. Yeah. Or, like, the video games where, like, I just, like, keep getting, and then, like, I actually get good at it, you know? I get, like, freakishly good. Because I'm trying to grind my way to platinum on League of Legends or something.
I think that it would be... That's a good question. Because, like, I could say, like, my job, or I do, like, crafting.
But it's always something you're, like, passionate about, right?
I know, right? Like, what am I passionate... I mean, I'm passionate
writing?
about teaching, but I feel like it's very hard to be, like, obsessively passionate. Okay, the image of someone who's obsessively passionate about teaching to the point that they start, like, destroying their students is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's, yeah, maybe the writing or something like that, like, my writing or crafting that I get really into.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's that I want to be a bride. Like, I'm gonna be a bride. I'm already past 34.
You're 36 now, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
So you're older than me.
I guess I'm turning 36 this year, but I'm too old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be...
You're an old maid.
No, wait, I already turned 36. It's already past September. Yeah. I can't remember what month it was.
Because I'm 35.
It was August.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you already had your birthday, right?
You gave me a look.
Because I texted you.
You made me second guess when my birthday was, and you were correct.
I was the one who was right.
So what if the idea is that I just get so, like, caught up in things that I forget when my own birthday is? Okay, can we lean into like ADHD? They just somehow turn that up like crazy, and I'm just like running around like doing everything, kind of like in that one episode where everyone's trying to do everything all the time. Like, just turn that up.
Yeah, like maybe it's like constantly gotta find a hobby, and like you keep
I
finding
do something
new ones.
I gotta find the next new thing. Oh, I saw something else cool to chase. I'm like a very angry squirrel.
Yeah.
But not the type that grab onto people's nipples or whatever it was in that one episode.
Oh my god, that was so fucking weird.
I'll never forget the nipple squirrels.
I know. You know, do you think that they're still running around rogue out there? Like, there's just a gang of squirrels.
Oh my gosh, what if they just stay angry forever?
Just attacking people
angry
who litter.
Nipple squirrels. Everyone's like, do not go into that park.
Do not throw trash on the ground in that park.
They will get you. I would love it if there was like a park where there were just like guardian squirrels.
Oh man. Yeah, so like if you were to have like a crazy magic wedding dress.
Yes,
what do you think it would be?
Circling back.
Yeah.
I think okay. This is just because it's the first thing came into my mind. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with, I think a lot of people have sexual awakenings from things they watch as kids, but you know, in Roger Rabbit, which I was too young to watch because it freaked me out, but like Jessica Rabbit has that sparkly red dress. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with the Jessica Rabbit dress, which I don't even think could exist in real life because it sparkles in like a cartoon way. But I want that dress. I think if there's a dress that Alison has like deep embedded in her psyche, it's that dress, and somehow that's my wedding dress. It's like so out of place for a wedding, but it would be that.
It's ruby red and has like that huge slit.
Yeah, it's like an evening gown, pure sparkle.
Oh my god.
Very sultry, slit up the side. It's very wedding-y.
Yeah. Bright red.
Yeah, I just turn up at that. Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes."
This is my
bow
wedding.
Down before me. Women kneel to me, and men also kneel to me. Everybody kneels.
Everybody kneels. This is my wedding.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Also, I would have the poly wedding where I get to marry just all the men and women that I like.
Yeah. And you all dance together.
Yes, in a big circle.
That was such a
How
great
about you?
moment. I'm trying to think. For some reason, my brain is getting pirate. Like, I'm getting sexy pirate.
Themed wedding.
Yeah, like, with just, like, the poet blouse, but it's, like, cut all it's just, like, half open.
I'm kind of picturing, like, the cover of a Harlequin romance,
yes.
You know, where, like, the girl's, like, hanging onto the dude, but, like, you've got, like, the sexy...
Yeah, but I'm a woman. And
because you've got the whole...
Yeah, and I've got, like, this, like, open shirt and then, like, tight pants that are sparkly.
Yes!
With, like...
They're they're sparkly.
Yes,
I
and, like,
love
very
this.
tall boots, like, up to my thighs.
Yes!
And a sword.
Yes! Okay, yeah, that one, that's definitely clicking deep into the psyche there,
Yeah. You know what I was thinking of, and maybe I need to rewatch this movie, but was it Treasure Planet? Like, wasn't there a pirate lady in that?
Yes, the pirate lady cat.
Yeah.
Like Amelia or something like that.
I need to rewatch this movie and see if it hits me the
I
same
need
way.
to, because I've been told it's better than it did. You know, it didn't.
Yeah, because I remember not liking
get a lot
it.
of attention, and also it just didn't do very well
Yeah.
in the box office. But I people seem to remember it fondly.
Yeah.
I don't remember it like
People
I
meme
remember
it
being
a
kind
lot.
of neutral towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see it memed a lot, and yeah, I should rewatch it because I do think that sexy cat lady pirate.
Yeah, I think she's
Good
supposed
stuff.
to be awesome in it. I think
I
just, like,
love a lady in uniform. Like, good.
especially that masked femme bus driver. I don't know why I keep coming back to her.
She was, no, I was into that.
Yeah.
I was like, are you intending for me to be getting these, like, vibes right now?
Right.
Because I was, like, just immediately like, hello.
Like, oh, hi. Are you driving today?
And, you know, it could be happening on purpose because they do some of that stuff later, like with Sailor Uranus, I can't think of her name,
Haruka, yeah. I think, right?
Where it's like, yeah.
Or maybe it's, maybe it's Haruna. Oh my god.
Haruna's the teacher, I think.
Oh, you're right. It's Haruka then.
Yeah, it's been a while, clearly. And And yeah, I don't know. I know it's a really long time till they show up, but I really want to meet them because I know that the dub really wasn't into that.
No, that's gonna get real fun.
The dub was like, "Oh no, remove the hot woman from our vulnerable young girl's eyes. They'll all fall in love with her.
Give this non-binary / lesbian a boyfriend."
As quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yep, they do. I forgot they do write in a boyfriend.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think we're at that time. Shall we?
So we have 2 things to wrap up
Yeah.
with. We need to do our own Sailor Says for the
Yes.
episode, and we need to do episode title for next time.
Yes. So Sailor Says, do you want to go first or second?
I will go first
Okay.
because I think Sailor Moon Says, and it's honestly uncomfortably close to what they actually went for, but mine is just more nuanced.
Yeah.
But it's basically like, it's great to have a cool wedding. You can have as cool a wedding as you want, but also maybe like consider if that's actually where you want to spend all your energy, because there's also other cool things to do, and so you can have multiple things.
Right.
You don't have to obsess. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I guess my other one is if a creepy dude wraps himself in your wedding cloth at the store, like, just pick a different piece of cloth.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Or just, like, let him have it because he clearly needs to make the most fabulous drag outfit.
Maybe make a dress for him. Like,
Yeah.
he does seem like he's, you know.
He's got money.
You could have a bonding moment.
Yeah. And, I mean, look at his car.
I mean, I guess, actually, I take that back. Do not bond with creepy dudes in stores. But
take advantage of their money, maybe.
it was not the cloth that made him creepy. It was just him.
Yeah, it was the attitude.
It was, you know, if a dude approaches and says, beautiful, like, run. Nothing good's gonna
So
happen.
creepy. Beautiful.
Yeah, nothing good's coming from this.
Oh, man, what would mine be? I think it's...
Oh, your doggy's so cute.
Oh, I know. Oh, my precious. I need to take them to the park today. I left them alone, like, all day yesterday. Let's see. What would I do? I think... Because mine was pretty close to yours, I think. But also, like, it's okay to not get married, too. Like, you don't... It's okay to be in your 30s and not married. Like, there's no ticking
That
time
too,
bomb.
yeah. Not, well, like Amy, not everyone
Yeah.
wants to get married.
Exactly.
You don't have to get married right now. There's no rush.
Right.
You can get married when you're 80. You can get married never.
Exactly. Whatever you
So that
want.
it's never going to be too late,
Yeah.
and you may decide that there's other things you like more,
Yeah, and also
or that you're just not interested.
add on to this, if your fiance suddenly changes their personality and starts screaming at you, you're free to go.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah, you don't need to. I mean, you know, if you want to try and see what's going on,
Right.
but yeah, don't let people scream at you.
Yeah.
You deserve better.
Yeah, you don't need to be
And
a
yeah,
beast.
you know, for all, like, there's some advantages to being single. Like, they don't talk about this, but, like, there's plenty of advantages to it.
Yeah.
Like, you get to set your own schedule and do what you want, and you don't have to compromise with another person, because I was never taught to compromise as a child. But
I love being single. Yeah.
I do too, actually. I'm not, like, opposed to, like, personally. It's just also, like, not high on my priority
Right.
list, because what I got right now is working really well for me.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, like, the idea of compromise and having to, like, let somebody else into my space.
Yes.
I'm like...
I'll also add that you don't have to get married to wind up having, like, people,
That's
like,
true.
long-term in your life. There's lots of alternative ways to have a family.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
consider non-standard options.
Yes. Like, I'm just thinking of Serena's, like, double wedding.
Yeah,
Poly
sometimes a
wedding.
family can be a girl, a superhero. What is he?
Yeah, like
a man in
a
a
masked
weird
man.
costume and a video store boy. An underage student.
Yeah. Oh, I ship that hard.
I do like all three of them
Yeah.
together. I'd like to see that explored. I wish more media, like, actually explored polyromance.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's
any day.
coming.
And but I can't think of almost any examples, and the only ones I can are definitely not mainstream media.
Yeah. I mean, there's
so we need more of that.
There's definitely, like, romance novels that are by some good authors that are poly. But
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But viewers, show me where the good poly content is.
Right.
Give me more.
Give me more. Britney's Free, by the way. That was Britney's song. Oh yeah. Okay. So next episode is. Do you have it up?
I do.
I always rely on you to do this now.
Yes. Oh, I switched screens, but I should have it over here. Okay. So the next episode is, and I'm going to be doing the dub. Mm-hmm. You're going to be doing the sub. So the dub is called Shutterbugged. And the sub is called Usagi's a Model, the Flash of the Monster Camera.
Ooh, so a photographer then.
Yeah, evil photography and modeling. Modern Usagi.
Yeah. And
so I'm excited. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and just heads up for all of our young audience or anybody. If a stranger asks you to take pictures in a remote location, you do not have to go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it could be a trap. Make sure you've got an adult who goes with you or knows where you are.
Bring a gun.
Bring a gun. Yeah. When someone offers you a really cool job.
Off Craigslist.
Don't trust it.
Yeah, don't. Yes. Red flags everywhere. Discounts
and
good deals.
That's immediately what I thought of. I was like, Usagi, do not. You're going to die.
Right. Like, discounts and good deals are all red flags in this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you all next week. Yes. Everyone, take care of yourselves. We'll have more therapy.
Next time.
In a little while.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.